Imagine like turning in work in that class, you know. All right, all work goes on the email. That guy that sent me that Coors Light commercial, A+. Now, the thing is you want to make it 80 to 120 pages and make sure you have a fade in and a fade out and try to work on spelling. Other than that, you're good to go.
Oh man, look at my life. I'm a lot like you were. Oh man, look at my life. I'm a lot like you were. A place that makes me think of true love lost such a cost. Give me I need someone to love me the whole day through. Oh man, look at my life. I'm a lot. Oh man, look at my life. I'm a
No name on that one. Next door knock. 3.5. It's like a freaking video game. Chance for go back. This is spin around right there.
I'm a lot like you. Okay, now one look in my eyes and you can tell my life like you.
All right, so how do they connect? The dwarf, Guy Littleman, I don't know his third name, but I just know Guy Littleman. It's all fiction. It's from a novel called Rib, parentheses or dotted out, close parentheses, dash Shepherds of Alaska. And how does Guy Littleman, or the dwarf, connect with the serial killer Daniel Lucius Kopex, who actually is COP? There's always a reveal. But you see the uniform and you see all this stuff because they can wear uniforms to a certain extent. They can't impersonate a police officer, whether he does that or not. Yeah, I don't really know. But Daniel is a killer and was part of that department to a certain extent, which was probably corrupting it. And he was beat by the police. The dwarf was beat by the police. He was physically abused on the sidewalk, and his dog, the dwarf's dog, was killed by a stun gun prong. Kills his dog. So he ends up, getting a lawsuit, making the money, going out to Alaska, starting the militia, and he runs into Shep because Lady Shelby runs into Shep at a cafe because Shep becomes somewhat famous, or Archie Rector is his hidden name, because he's blamed for a murder that was done by Daniel Lucius Kopex. So it's basically a fake name. That sin of the murder is put upon Shep, who is kind of a scapegoat. He's sent off to Alaska. He runs into the dwarf because he runs into Lady Shelby, who is the wife of the dwarf. Doc Shelby and Lady Shelby. So they're already running an operation, which is RIB, Revolutionary Independent Branch. They do all kinds of stuff. They're their own group. When they realize that Shep is in trouble, because there's a chase sequence and all this other stuff. They realized that they could probably remove the charges from his name. They could clear his name. Clear his name is how they say it. And that's what a lot of the story is. They have to get Daniel in order to do that. They have to find him. It's like a needle in a haystack, and he's a hacker. They have to find Daniel. That's the big moment in the last 10 chapters of the book that we're working on. They use the drones. They go into Fort Worth from Alaska, undercover, and they start tracking officers to see which one is Daniel. That's the reveal. Silence of the Lambs, Jonathan Demme. What was the reveal? There were 2 reveals in that. 2 big reveals. What were they? Well, the ending one was the delivery man knocks on the door. They're in the wrong whole area, and they're trying to catch Buffalo Bill, and they think they got him, and the house is empty. Wherever that was Buffalo Bill's house that he never moved into, he was in the old lady's house and the neighbor. Because Clarice was the agent that was assigned in student. She was a student agent of the FBI, and she was to go into that house, well, to the victim's house and do a little bit of research. And she finds this and that. They basically come to an agreement that he's building a flesh suit and wants to be a woman, trying to carve diamonds in the back of these women and then turning it into like a dress. He's going to become this woman. And he likes crazy songs that have horses in them. And so the next thing you know, she finds out that this lead might take to the neighbor's house. And then when she's knocking on the door and they're knocking on the door at the same time, it switches. And then it goes to Scott Glenn and he goes, Clarice. And he knows at that moment that she's in the right area because they didn't check the neighbor's house. He was at the neighbor's house, living in the neighbor's house, pretty much just, he was a home dweller. She was in the bathtub. There's a shot where they show the bathtub and there's an old lady like rotten in the bathtub. That was the owner of the house. And nobody would come by there. And if anyone did, he probably said he bought the house or whatever, you know. He was in that house, Buffalo Bill. That was one reveal. And it switches. You knock on the door and it switches to the wrong one and then to the right one. That's called a reveal. There's another one too in Silence of the Lambs. And I'm going to tell you mine too in a minute. And Silence of the Lambs, there's another one. Do you remember what it was? We'll talk about it later. There's another reveal. It's a pretty big reveal too. There's a few of them. There's another one with Anthony Hopkins playing the cannibal, Hannibal the Cannibal, and he switches the faces and all that stuff. He takes the face off of that one guy and he puts it on his own face, acting like he's the other. I guess it's an officer, like a security officer or whatever, that when they have him in a cage, and then they take the body of what they thought was one of the officers he's dressed up as, and they're really taking Hannibal Lecter out, and they take him like to the ambulance, and that's really Hannibal Lecter when he put the dead body and dressed him up as himself on top of the elevator, and then they shoot him in the leg, but that guy's already dead. All this stuff, that was kind of a reveal. And then there's another big reveal too, and we'll get to that later. Well, everyone remembers the pizza delivery reveal and everything. Why I'm talking about that is you see all these things happen where Daniel's being interviewed. He's in a police uniform. You think he's a police officer. You think all this stuff. And then really you realize he's one of those citizen patrol guys. That's why he wears that weird hat. He's almost like a clown. He wears that little red hat in the scene. And it shows him, and it shows his vehicle. You see parts of the vehicle, kind of like Sean Penn's film, The Pledge. Right? You would see the shot like this, right? It looks like a police officer. And they think he's a police officer, but he's not. He's a citizen on patrol. Basically, almost like a Boy Scout grown man. So I thought Ray Fiennes would be kind of, because he's kind of funny. Ray Fiennes is kind of funny. But he, the reveal is this guy's a complete dork, but yet he's killing these people. Special, right? He's a special guy. He's killing these migrants and stuff like that. He hadn't been caught yet. But they found all these migrants in the Trinity, right? They haven't really, but in this one they do. Just like in Silence of the Lambs, they find, Thomas Harris did use real locations, like meaning he talked about a river and they found the body in the river and things like that. And Thomas Harris also interviewed psychos in a Mexican prison, which gave him some authority to at least launch that movie around. But listen, I've been in some areas where there's some psychos that I thought were serial killers anyway. And the imagination is just as powerful sometimes as reality. But the reveal is that you find out he's a citizen on patrol. He's not actually an officer. And they figure that out eventually. And Rib tranks him. They don't kill him and they don't arrest him. Well, they do arrest him, but they're not supposed to. They trank him and he falls asleep. So they just put him in the car, but they don't bind him. They don't put cuffs on him. They fly him basically to Alaska and drop him off at a 7-Eleven where he's introduced to Agent Penn. Hopefully Sean Penn won't jump on board it, which is basically the FBI. So he's introduced to the FBI. The FBI makes the arrest. And that's kind of the end of the movie. But there's another reveal, and we'll get to the mask making later. There's a mask that he's able to make that's very similar to how Spike Jonze makes masks, and they have them today. They look very, very real. He wears a version of Shepard Dwight East. Basically, it's a mask of Shepard Dwight East that he can put on, and the camera recognizes it as pretty much him if the camera's not like perfectly pixelated. It looks very real. It's got air in it, all kinds of stuff that can fluctuate. And this mask, they are making them. They do look real. It's almost like Mission Impossible mask. And he has to get a death mask of Shepard. So he becomes friends with Shepard. Like a citizen on patrol becomes friends with like a cop kind of thing. He goes over, he finds a way to be his friend. He goes over and then he gives him basically, while they're watching like the Super Bowl or like a football game pretty much, he gives them a Mickey. And the Mickey, well, I think it's called a Mickey, but he gives him a sleeping medication. Makes him go to sleep, like very, very quickly. And puts him out, and he covers his face with what's known as a death mask. It's basically like putty and stuff so that he can get a death mask negative of this guy that he's going to set up. He just wants to be that way. He's just really weird. He's really intelligent. So he basically makes that, wears the mask, and goes to this brothel. That's a hidden brothel where the women dress up like angels or demons, and that's the one room that has the photo, or it's basically not a photo, but it's a reprint, a laser print, basically a print of the famous painting of Alighieri's Dante's Inferno of the final level of hell, where the devil has 3 faces, and he sees that painting there. That's where he sets up Shep, because he makes it look like Shep went in there, and that was tied to the latest murder. There was a migrant in there that he takes to the Trinity and drops off, and they can trace it that way because of a CC camera that he wasn't aware of. He knew there would be cameras. They can clearly see him getting into, basically, it'd probably at that point like an old truck that he ties on Shep to. He may sell it to him, or maybe around Shep's house, or he would have access to it. There's nothing more evil on this planet if that was a real dog that looked like that. A dog that still. That's the one. Probably scare birds off, maybe. What in the world? You're literally walking down this way or even driving. That looks very real. Very, very real. doesn't it? Doesn't it look real? That is so crazy. It could be that Daniel is an actual cop. We see him fully as a citizen on patrol. Now, there is a moment where there's a thing where he is patrolling, whether that's fantasy or real. Remember, it's a surreal cop drama. Ultimately, fantasy. Like the series has fantasy in it, but it's a surreal cop drama with fantasy elements. There's a moment where Shep pulls up to Daniel, and he's facing this way on his car, and the other guy's facing the other way, and they have a conversation between one another. So whether he got let go and became a citizen on patrol later on or something, you know, that's always to be kind of, I don't know. .5 next door knock. That one dude that murdered 4 college students, I want to say up northwest, okay? He was from out of state. He was out of another state. It was a campus. Is all I can think of his name. I can't even pronounce it. Anyway, he was studying law, and he was sentenced to life. He didn't get the death penalty, but he killed 4 of them, got their information off of TikTok or something. Okay, he killed them with a K-bar. It's like a U.S. Marine boot knife. Yeah, it got its name from kill bear. It once killed a bear. The K-bar did. It was used to kill a bear. So they call it a K-bar. They used it in World War II. He killed 4 of them with that. Now, he scoped them out, and they took one photo. It was just one photo from a smartphone. I think it was an iPhone. I'm not for sure the type. But it was one photo. That got the model of the car that was seen in that distance. Later, they'd get the pings. They find out who it was. They would know through a cell device that he was there in the area. They would have never caught him if he wasn't speeding with his dad. His dad was in the car. He was speeding. He was on the highway. A cop pulled him over and noticed it was the same model. Those two were connected together. Okay? They connected those two together. That model of car and where it was pulled over. That was filed, probably FBI, maybe another organization, and they were able to begin the questioning and start investigation. Then once they got his cell phone, he could have traded in that car and threw the cell phone into the lake or something, you know, but he didn't. So they're able to get the pings on the cell phone. He didn't think he was going to get caught. Yeah. He thought he was going to get away with it. They got him. He did it out of state. And it was amazing because he was all over the place. He was a law student. And why he would do that, I don't know. Law is, law's evil. We know that law's evil. It's written in the New Testament that we are not in law, that we are in Christ. We're in Christ. We're not in law. But he was in law, right? He was studying law, and he knew what to do to get away. Almost got away with it. I know his name is Kronberger or something weird. He has a weird name, but he is in prison. Sometimes I have to go and look for the name. I looked it up the other day. I found the name. I was like, that's the name. But sometimes it's not about the name, you know. That brings it over to an isolated case. It's that type of case, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't happen anywhere else. No, it happens everywhere. And he was almost at the point, he was kind of considered like a serial killer, even though we know that one attack happened and he killed 4. Right? There was 4. This thing is slippery like ice, dude. This freaking pelican. But it is like, he probably would have became one. And guess who else was a lawyer? Freaking Ted Bundy. You know, they probably check lawyers a little bit more. Ted Bundy was a lawyer as well. That's pretty crazy. And the other guy was a clown. Yeah, that all happened like in Dallas and stuff. The clown guy. Can't think of his name right now either. Gacy. Yeah, Gacy was a clown. He was also a deacon at his church. These are, I mean, these are so freaking hard sometimes. Yep. I put everything in on 2 maps because of this dang show. But yeah, I talked to them before. His name was Brian Koberger. I just looked it up. He got life in prison. They didn't give him the death penalty, but he just went in there and killed 4 of them. He planned it and scoped them out. They caught him with a camera. It was a one of these. There was a 5th person that he didn't know was there, and they had a camera. He had a phone. So when he realized something went down, he immediately went to the window. It was very smart that he did that. If he didn't take that photo, he'd never got caught, probably. Took one single photo of the car, the model of the car. They were able to digitize it and pixelate it and get the model of the car. That was connected to a stop where he was speeding with his dad. He was probably trying to get everything in order to get out of town and cover up his tracks. They know, like, he was in law, so he knew what the police looked for, just like Ted Bundy. And he knew he was setting up his plan to become basically a killer. Yeah, they got him. They got him quick. Hopefully that was only his first. That may have been his first reign. And there was 4 victims involved with a K-bar. I mean, you're talking about psycho, man. That is very psycho. Why he used a K-bar is kind of something they'd have to interview. And those are the things they go in and they follow up. They probably kept him alive so they could learn from him. Like, why did you use a K-bar? You know, why did you use... What? Is it just because to do its job, or you wanted to relate it to military, or, you know, like, what was it? Don't know much about him other than they say he experimented with heroin. The murders happened in Idaho University, and he came from Washington State. Brian Koberger did. So he was studying law. Brian Koberger. He had been planning it a long time. And they did say he experimented with drugs, preferably heroin. Next door knock, 0.5, 432. It's a nice little Tesla. All right. This guy's a pretty cool dude. I don't know if that's his Tesla, though. Pretty cool dude, though. All right, we switched over. Now we pick up food and drop it off at your doorstep rather than a knock on the door for the burglary or fire alarm sign up. This is actually picking up food at McDonald's, 441 for the pickup. Rum, rum. One hungry squirrel. Up on the way. One point, they only give you like a minute leeway, and you're like, where am I gonna go? Oh my God, and you get to these apartment complexes, and you're like, you got a minute to figure it out. Get through the gate and find, you know, it's like dun 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 dun. Copyrighted that. Oh, bottomless pancakes. Huh. They fall through the bottom. Shit kind of looks like my ex-mother-in-law. Orders for a chick named Linda, who I happen to know. Whoa, crap. But, I don't know. It's going there. Young little hottie. He's like, oh, okay. Is it for Linda? Okay. But I wasn't wearing these glasses, though. My smart glasses. I was wearing my other smart glasses. But, you know, it could have been my daughter. Super cute, with a really nice, you know, bottom. But the problem is, she has babies. She turns into a mom, and she goes and gets divorce papers. Then you miss her all the time. She's got a pretty face. So there's some good, you know, and bad. And a chick that's homey, or homely, which is what Brando always liked. Because then, when they dump you, you're like, well, she was definitely pretty. But she wasn't Cindy Crawford, you know. Because you date a Cindy Crawford one that's like beautiful, and you're like, oh, you know. And then they dump you, and you're like, I don't want to, you know. What am I going to do without you? That kind of thing. That happens. I've dated some, like in college and stuff, some really extremely beautiful women that became actresses in New York and went off to Chicago and were dancers and all this stuff. And then when they break up with you, you don't even, like, you're like a robot. You're like, what's my name again? I don't know who I am anymore. It happened to me one time when I dated Stella in Streetcar Named Desire when I was playing Stanley. I was like, who are you? I'm in a Pink Floyd. My nickname became Robot Boy. I got better later. She broke my freaking heart. And you turn into Robot Boy. They know this stuff. They know Robot Boy. Actually, not the Sex Pistols, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, they wrote Go Robot. Is that what that's about? When you go robot? Actually, I might listen to that. It's a song called Go Robot. Robot is actually from 2016 Red Hot Chili Peppers album called The Getaway. Which I put in a lot of my screenplay crap. Yeah, Go Robot. It's not that old. It's 2016. It seems like it is, though. They paid themselves silver. Yeah, see? That's Go Robot. Red Hot Chili Peppers. That's Getaway. I used to listen to it when I was at the bank. Me and this dude that had a blow in one of those things. He worked at the bank, but he had a blow and start his car. I was like, you have to blow on that to start your car? He's like, yeah, I got to blow on this and then start the car. I was like, you work at our bank? It looks like it's next to the blue dumpster. And it's in a complex. And I got a minute leeway. See a blue dumpster. Yeah. And the ghetto chick with the trash can. She probably listens to the Red Hot Chili Peppers too. The whole freaking city does. Looking to see. Yeah. Okay. Got a butt shot. Alright, I executed that one with a cat butt shot and everything. So it's pretty difficult, that cat butt shot. Alright, Water Burger, 0.9 for pickup. Run. Lots of burger, 1 point. Smells like a Neil Young concert or a Cheech and Chong Comic-Con Fest. I think they're doing the Breaking Bad thing where they're like laundering car washes. I don't know, I just threw it out. Derek Cian France movie called The Place Beyond the Spot and the Place Beyond the Pines. Is it The Place? The Place Beyond the Pines. Soda water. All right, on our way way, 6:12 arrival, 6 minutes, 1.8, 4 specs. And then we got another pickup after that. Right, Red Robin. Got to pick up the burger. 6:18.4. Out if they really have to have them automatically hit confirm, because we usually hit confirm at our car. I said it automatically does it. It does eventually, but in some cases. But he's like, "Oh, I need you to hit confirm." It has this long ponytail. He actually didn't say that. He's like, "I need you to hit confirmed." But you know, I mean, it's like, okay, I'll hit confirmed, but I lose all this time trying, and they know this stuff. Some of them know it. Some of them. Red Robin on the way. 6:40, 14 minutes. 5.6 for the delivery. Wham, wham. On our way for the Moo Burger, like the Kevin Smith film, Dogma. They all worship the calf. And Gabriel had to come down. He's Matt Damon and Ben Affleck were the angels. Jason Lee was like the Antichrist, whatever. They all worship that Moo Burger. Now they call it Mooyah or something. Anyway, we're on our way. This is Red Robin. 6:49, 2.5 for the pickup. I'm sorry, for the delivery. There's the church, and well, actually it was a school I went to. They moved it over here. It used to be closer to where my grandparents lived by Diamond Lock, where the home invasion happened. That's where they moved. Glenview Baptist Church. They were in a smaller church and school. It was a school too. First and second grade is when I went there. They're right off some road over there that leads to Diamond Lock. But it's not too far from the I always call it that, but it's actually the Fossil Creek. Go, kitty, go. It's a tuxedo cat. Made it. It's right over that way. That's where they moved it. Glenview Baptist. That's where I learned about forgiveness and all kinds of stuff. You know, how to be forgiving. It's like right there, Glenview Baptist, yeah. And their school is there too. Way bigger now. We were basically in trailers. Burger King on our way. 3.7 for the pickup. Rum. That was the old Glenview Baptist. Now it's Oasis Community. It was Riverwalk. It was called the Riverwalk. Now it's Oasis Community. And it was once Glenview Baptist. And it was my school too, right behind it. They had trailers right back there, somewhere behind it. The lunchroom was right here. Remember my dad wrote a letter to the cafeteria lady saying that I wasn't gonna get enough French fries because I'd complain about it. I like that. I said, Dad, I can see that the kid beside me and the kid around me, they get more tater tots than me. I can tell I would get less tater tots. So my dad wrote a letter in pencil with one of those putt-putt golf pencils on a piece of paper. He was a millionaire, but he was, yeah, at that point he was a millionaire. This is a private school. Right there is that's where our schools were, or the school was. Yeah, you can see some of it right there. It's still the same. That overhead was there. That's where I played David. That was one of my first acting roles. Now, in my novel, everything takes place when Craig, the failed baptism happens with Daniel Lucius Copex. It's right here, down where this bridge is where Fossil Creek was. I don't know what it's called in the novel, though. Probably Forest Hills Creek or something like that. It has a weird name. I changed the name for that particular novel. In Catnappers, it's the same. It's Fossil Creek. But it was right over here where it went down. And it'd be cool if I had creative rights to actually do the movie. I'd probably want to shoot it right here if it looks basically the same. It was flooding. It was flooding because of the rain. And that's a river that goes there. It's actually a creek. You kind of see it. And that's where it drowns in the fictional novel. Yeah, my grandma, I think, stayed there maybe. Yeah, at the Wellington for a while. Angel and I saw her, got some cookies, and we got to visit her. So where the home invasion took place in the 80s, and my sister was still alive, I was supposed to be there, but I was at my sister's. That's where they came in with shotguns and voice changers and told them to lay down, put blankets over them. No one was killed, but they did take a lot of the jewelry. They're like, get on the ground. Okay, this is Diamond Lock. It was a nice neighborhood. It says Diamond Lock right there. It says DL, Diamond Lock. That's where it took place. Pizza Inn on the way for the pickup from the old school Pizza Inn. You can see Fort Worth from here too. It's a nice little shot. Like the timing's perfect with these cars. Here it is. This has been here since a long time ago. Far into the 60s for sure. I have a window. You can see the old equipment. Old pizza place. A little salad bar. It's been here since 1969. The Pizza Inn has been. 1969.
Did I get here?
So they call them pizzas. It's a dessert and a pizza.
Hold on, I'll take it.
Said that they don't get the pasta orders until you walk in. They get the pizza orders on time. They don't even get the pasta orders until you're already there. It's where the Catnappers takes place. I don't know about that fountain though. Stop sign comes out of nowhere. There goes my backpack.
Hard brake detected.
Yeah, well, you know what? Your mama's detected. Sorry, your mama's detected. It's a cool looking red light coming out of the garage. I look for things like that. Sorry, I'm a little weird. Like, that's a cool looking red light coming out there. They're doing something. Let me see if we can go down this way. Yeah, I gotta drop off this whatever. She always saying, oh, you're gonna be your movie star thing. Well, I'm about to show you my Oscar right there. Here, well, it's not even mine either. That'd be nice. That'd be real nice. Let's go. Ran back. All right, free birds and another one. On our way for the pickup, 3.1. Vroom, vroom. we're going to Freebirds, and I would eat a Freebird burrito right now without thinking about it. It's like... Get yourself a Freebirds World Burrito Gava Adobe Salad, $9.95 or $9.59. I don't know, man. I just go with the burrito. Freebirds. Look at that. Yeah, I used to get the Super Monster, and then Angel would call me and lecture me about a lot of stuff. A Super Monster's huge. Next order is about 100 yards. Yeah, so the Woo will probably they'll watch the old stuff, but Tom Green.
What the hell?
It's a structure fire. Was that the one that was there
It's
last?
a car.
Yeah, I know.
That was a fuck.
Is that the one that was there last time?
Yes.
It's a structure fire.
Oh my god.
These can make the news.
Shit.
Keep that down for a minute.
No.
I want to get a clear shot.
Oh my gosh.
They do it slow. We want to just pass it right here. Just hang on for a second. You trying to get a photo?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
What the heck?
They can't explode.
My car got on fire.
That's an engine fire. Yeah, here comes the fire department. We got to stop right here. Yeah.